On this episode of Content Sessions, we're talking with Marshall Ney about Wallabis custom carvings. Thanks for coming by, man.
Thanks.
Appreciate
Thanks
you
for
making
having
the
me.
trip into the city.
Yeah, man. I
Cool.
appreciate it.
So we met at the Toronto, what is it called actually? I don't even remember the name.
Electronic Gaming Live Expo.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And you had a booth there.
Yep.
And I lost my friend in a VR headset. And then I stumbled across your stuff and we got to talking. So
Right on.
glad we could do it.
Yeah.
How did the show go?
It went very well for me, yeah.
Yeah. Good. And you had a pretty big wall of all different kind of gaming, customized carved pieces.
Yep.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about what the business
So
is about.
basically, I'm just a very big video game fan, and I really enjoy them. So I like to make stuff for myself, and hopefully that someone else would enjoy it. And then I just try and sell those. Hopefully it works out, and it's been working out so far, so
There you go.
can't complain.
There you go. And so you do the custom carving yourself? Like take me through the business.
So basically, if you were to send me an image of your logo, I could take it on the computer and I put it through a program, and the program generates code for my machine that I have. It came in like 1,800 parts or something like that, and I put it all together.
Jeez.
So once I put it on the computer program, I can run it through and it'll give me a simulation, and I can do like a 3D render and show someone what it would look like before I even start carving. And then from there, I can just start carving with the machine. And usually, depending on how big it is, it's generally, I would say, like roughly an hour. And then I would just sit there and sand all the edges down, make sure everything's flush and flat, and do a little bit of work with the chisel. And then once that's good, then I'll put the paint on, let it sit for a couple days, and then I'll sand it down and then add the final coat to seal everything.
There you go. And you do pieces of what size? I mean, a lot of the stuff that you had at the show was fairly small. But...
Yeah, I can do, like I have some pins that are very small. I would say like 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches, but I can go all the way up to 30 inches by 30 inches.
Oh, yeah.
So,
cool.
yeah.
And is this, what type of machine is it? Is it a CNC?
Yeah, it's a CNC router, yeah.
Okay, got it. I think we had, I think my high school had one of those, but it was like this big, giant, I remember.
That's sweet.
Yeah. It was like a massive, I think they said it was one of the biggest ones in Ontario, but it was like the size of this table, like a massive.
That's fantastic.
So,
yeah.
Yeah, I can only imagine the stuff you get out of that. And so when you're making stuff, how intricate, how detailed can you get?
It just kind of depends on the scale. So if you want something really small, it's harder to compact all that detail.
Got it.
I do have a laser engraver attachment, but it's not the high quality laser engravers that most people have. They have a standard of like $2,000 to $7,000 machines, and I paid like $400. So basically, I just use it to etch like my signature in the back of the logo.
Okay. And so you'd say you primarily make kind of gaming oriented stuff.
Oh yeah, but I could do anything. Like my friend, he's been asking me quite frequently. He'll send me a picture of his dogs, and then I'll redraw his dogs with the photographs, and then I'll make custom wood carvings of his dogs.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So you could, like literally everything.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, that's sweet. And how did it all get started?
I just kind of, I just started doing it as like a hobby. So I was like working at a warehouse, and I would just literally come home and like use an X-Acto knife on like a piece of wood, and it would take me like 2 weeks to make one. And it was like super painful, and the process was long.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just kind of did it for fun, my own little, like I just want to put something on the wall. And then I was showing my friends at work, and they were like, hey, my nephew might be interested in having that for a Christmas gift. How much do you want for it? And I was like, I don't really want to sell it. But I was like, you know what, I could make another one. So why not? And then just kind of went from there.
Got it. And then so is it a full-time thing, or is it a part-time thing for you?
I would say like, it just depends on like the season. Like usually like in the winter, it's more of a part-time thing because it kind of slows down. But in the summer, it's more of a full-time thing.
Got it. And how do you primarily sell now? Is it mostly shows?
Yeah, it's mostly at expos.
Yeah.
But I do have a website that I just updated recently in the last week and a half or so.
Got it. And is it like, can people buy right off the site? Is it like a Shopify?
Yeah, you can pretty much just like, you can order and I'll ship anywhere in Canada and the US right now.
Nice. Yeah, and I bet that helps because I mean, once you get certain people at the show, maybe they don't want to carry it with them or they don't want to deal with it. You can have them come back and buy it.
Yeah, for sure.
Deal with it later. Very cool. How did you find? Did you use Shopify or did you use something else?
I don't use Shopify. I actually I use Squarespace.
Okay.
But my friend was mentioning Shopify, and he was saying it was like an absolutely wonderful ad tool.
Yeah. The thing I like about it, and I've had customers with websites on both, Squarespace has all the fundamentals. It has all the basics. It has everything that you need. I like Shopify because it integrates with marketing tools really, really well. I mean, most recently they actually lost their partnership with MailChimp, so they're no longer directly integrated with them. But I even find, like for example, the Facebook Pixel. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's basically like the analytics tool for Facebook.
Okay.
So instead of having to code it in, it just has like a little spot where you just paste in the number, and it's like, oh yeah, we'll figure it all out for you. We understand when people add a product to the cart and do this, and you really don't have to customize much. It kind of just like
more simplifying the shopping experience.
Yes, I think it's probably more expensive overall. But if you do get into a point where you're like selling more online, I think you'll find the Shopify, the resources and the tools that you have at your disposal are quite a bit beyond. I've actually just moved a long-time customer off of Squarespace from the e-commerce because he was doing a pretty high volume. So we moved him into Shopify, and now everything just kind of runs a little bit smoother. But if you're just kind of getting started with the site.
Oh yeah. Basically, I think I have maybe 30 items up.
It's still good though.
Yeah, it's basically my my stock for the expos,
Core collection. Yeah. And how do you decide? How do you decide what you're going to make? How do you decide what you're going to bring?
Honestly, just kind of whatever I'm interested in. Like when I go to the fan expo, I'll pretty much bring a general like plethora of things. Like I do like video game things, but I have other things. Like I have podcast ones. Like I made like Theo Vaughn one, like Your Mom's House one, just for fun because I like those ones.
Yeah.
But yeah, I pretty much will bring almost anything to that show. But the video game show I did tailor specifically for that show.
Got it. And how many shows throughout the year are you doing now?
Just currently, just 2, but I'm thinking about doing the Montreal Comic Con.
Oh, very cool.
That might be a lot of fun. So
yeah, pack it all into the van.
Yeah,
head out. Yeah, I've only been to the. Is it actually Comic Con? Is it called Comic Con here, or is it called like Fan Expo?
Yeah, it's called Fan Expo in Toronto, but there's basically many different types of cons, and they also have like a Fan Expo Comic Con in March as well.
Okay, here.
Yeah, in Toronto.
Got it.
I believe so.
Got it. We checking that out?
I don't know. I've never gone. It's because I assume it's just more comic book stuff. If I tailored it specifically for comic book stuff, and I do love comic books.
Yeah.
But
so it's an option.
Yeah, definitely.
Very cool. Very cool. And so we were talking a little bit, and I was thinking about something for my wall, and I think, I think producing stuff for gaming and for comics, because it has such a rabid fan base, I can imagine would do really, really well. How much have you kind of been thinking about, or have you really thought about kind of doing pieces for this type of scenario?
I would like, that's pretty much like, I really would enjoy to do big pieces like that. That would be more of what I would like to do. I do have smaller pieces currently, which are basically, I would say, anywhere between 5 to like 20 inches. But like the bigger pieces I do like to do. I did a piece for Into the Fire jewelry and Book of Alchemy jewelry. And I just traded them like a ring that they had.
Yeah.
And so I made a big sign for them, basically around the same size as the one I was showing you.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, one thing, and I've actually been speaking with a lot of like musicians and different people in that space, trying to get their sound out.
Mm-hmm.
And I think about it really similarly for you, where like, reaching out to a whole bunch of people saying, hey, do you want to purchase a sign? You'll get a bunch of yeses. Like I want to buy a sign because it'd be really cool to have it in my space. But I think one thing to think about from a marketing investment is maybe finding some people that have a show with a bit of a following and actually creating something for them for free. And then if they get it up on the wall, they'll get some inquiry. Hey, where the hell did you get that? Or people coming into the show. Hey, where did you get that? That's really cool.
Yeah, for sure.
But just like that exposure, and I would imagine the cost to produce for you is, obviously the wood and your time.
Basically, yes.
Yeah, but other than that,
I would say the paint and sandpaper. Sandpaper does cost money.
How does the paint factor in?
So it took me, I would say, like almost 2 years to create a proper paint mixture, but I use linseed oil paints. They're like really high-end oil paints.
Okay.
And then I will use linseed oil, and I will mix a little bit of linseed oil with the paints to kind of thin it out. And then I kind of just like will rub it all over the spot and then like rub it off. So it kind of, the wood grain will kind of come through. And depending on how deep the wood grain is or how much I want it to show through. Like I can go over and make the color darker and darker as
Got
I
it.
go on.
So you're almost treating it like a stain layer.
Pretty much,
Got it.
yeah.
Okay. And then and then is there like a clear coat?
So yeah, at the end. So normally, if I start a project, it will be basically blank with all the grooves in it, and then I will paint it all black if there's the black outlines
Right.
that needed, and then I will sand it over, and then all the black outlines will pop, and then I'll be able to like distinguish part from part and just start filling in the colors.
Got it. Have you ever done anything with epoxy fill into the grooves?
I
That would kind of look cool.
I haven't. I actually, the only thing that was slightly similar to that is I used I think it's called something bond glue, but it's see-through super glue, and I used that to fill in a couple holes and then smoothed it out so it kind of looked like epoxy. But I was actually talking to someone at the wood shop, and he was saying that epoxy only lasts roughly 4 years.
Oh, really?
And then after that, there's no like guarantee. They don't know what's going to happen. So I haven't really delved much into it, but I actually do have an epoxy kit at home that I've yet to use. But I've been thinking about it.
Yeah. Well, that sounds like a short amount of time considering like how many like bars and those types of tops that exist.
It's kind of blowing my mind a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
There's actually a bathroom in Kid Rock's bar in Clarkston, Michigan. It's called the Road Shop or I can't remember what it's called. Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a little barbecue joint, and then upstairs is like a pool table and a bit of an arcade.
Oh, nice.
And the bathroom floor is pennies, literally all touching across the entire floor. And then it's epoxy. It looks super cool. And we were debating about it the one night we were there. This is like 5 or 6 years ago. We had a couple of drinks.
Mm-hmm.
And we were like, that's actually a really economical, cheap way of doing it. And they were like, I wonder how many actually pennies are in a square foot. So we calculated it. It was like $11 a square foot compared to other material, and then the epoxy.
That's
just
not
the
bad.
size of the pennies, you need $11 or so per square foot of space.
That's not bad at all.
I was surprised at that number.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what the epoxy reminded me of. But yeah, that's
cool.
short of a shelf life. But I wonder if it's like on a wall and you're not actually like making contact with it.
Yeah, I think it probably depends on what epoxy you're using. I'm sure there's some sort of like chemical composition for particular ones that end up lasting longer than other ones. Like I'm sure there's someone online that's going to be like, no, that's not true. But
yeah. Fair enough. How do you use social now? Do you use it a lot?
I pretty much try and post once a day, like business day, and on Instagram, and then I usually ghost my Twitter and my Facebook, and that's pretty much it. I'm not very like trying to go too crazy, because if I end up spending too much time on that, then I won't have anything to post.
Yeah. Fair enough. One thing to consider, and actually this actually speaks to the Shopify versus Squarespace kind of debate. When you have a Shopify store, it actually has like an automatic connection into Facebook/Instagram. So one thing I like about it is, especially with your products, where they're, what's the average product? Between $10 and $50?
I think my average sale price would be, it's like $29 or $30.
Perfect. And so what Instagram has is called Instagram Shop.
Mm-hmm.
And so it integrates directly with your products in your store. I think with Squarespace, I think you have to like manually upload the products.
Yeah.
Whereas Shopify has a direct connection in.
Okay.
So what you'd be able to do is, say you put up a pin or you put up a coaster or whatever different thing that you made, you could actually make that Instagram post shoppable. And I bet you people that are seeing it, if they could quickly and easily one click purchase, might be an interesting idea to try integrating those.
Is there, so you're saying there is like kind of a bit of a price difference? Like what is the actual price difference? Because I think I'm paying like $230 a year for Squarespace.
Oh, it's comparable then. I think so. The basic Shopify site is $30 a month. So it's going to be maybe $100 more.
But yeah, that's not like
reasonable.
For all the integration, that doesn't really seem that much of a hike.
No, not too bad. So the way that you would set that up is, if you create an account, business.facebook.com, which is and register your business there, you can then integrate your product catalog, which again you can go right in through Shopify. And then once the products go in and get approved, if you do a Facebook post or an Instagram post, you can tag a product. Okay. And then so what it would do is it'd have a little shopping icon at the top. And then if they clicked on it, it would be like, oh, this piece is, $18. Do you want to go to the website and buy it? And it would land right on that product page, right on the website.
That's not bad at all.
And I think because, again, most of the stuff that you make is playing in a space where like it's a pretty rampant fan base.
Yeah.
Those types of things could have some virality and could probably drive some sales right off the site.
Definitely.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's not a bad option.
Might be a good idea to play with. And then I would even actually consider, so once you've created your business manager, right, to put your product catalog in, you can also create an ad account in there.
Okay.
And I'm not saying go crazy running a million different ads, but the thing I really like is, so with whether it's Instagram or Facebook where you're running the ads, it's the same ad platform.
Okay.
And you can actually target a whole bunch of different stuff, but you could literally target fans of whatever that is, right? Whether it's a Legend of Zelda thing or a Kirby or a Mario or this or that.
Yeah, even just a custom sign one, you know?
Yeah, and so you could actually target the fans of those and then literally spend $10-$20 just putting it out to the fans of that as a shoppable ad.
Yeah.
And I bet you'd see some traction from
Yeah, I think I tried that twice on Instagram. I know it's not like connected with the Shopify and all that, but I think I did end up spending like $30. I spent like $10 on one and 20 on another one.
Yeah.
And I did see like a little bit of an influx of people just viewing my stuff, but the only thing that really came about it was I had a guy from, I can't remember what it was, but he tried to order like $700 worth of stuff and then tried to get me to ship it with this special shipping place. And then I was like, oh, this is a scam.
Oh, yeah, I've been through enough of that. Yeah, at one point we had like 7 or 8 different stores that we were running, and like, yeah, there's all kinds of weird shit.
Yeah, he was, use this thing. Use my, I'll pay you for the shipping, but use my shipping guy. And I'm like, wait a second.
Yeah. Yeah, there's all kinds of weird shit. We actually just almost got, it was actually like the most elaborate scam of all time, and like we got like really far down the road with proposals and like all this stuff, and then we vetted it through, basically there's a government agent that works for, it's a Canadian government agent that works in all the different countries, and so we brought the deal to them to vet at the end, which we didn't even know about. And so for me, like I see internet scams all the time, and like there was a couple red flags, but like they all got addressed, and I was like, oh, this all seems like really legit.
Yeah.
And we were like months in.
Yeah.
And then it went to this lady, and she's like, oh, no, they're not trying to do this. They're trying to do that. And I was like, ooh, super glad we called.
Yeah. It took me, I would say, about 4 weeks to realize that the guy was, and I had another artist come up to me at the Fan Expo and say, who emailed you again? Yeah. And they were like, I got emailed by that guy. He's trying to scam me, I'm pretty sure. And I was like, all right.
Yeah.
Well, at least I didn't get scammed, so
there you go.
No worries.
And yeah, I mean, that's the thing with when you're running those types of things, it doesn't always mean a sale is going to come in. And so when you're selling with ads for e-commerce, it is like the most difficult version of online ads, just because there's a lot of people selling so many things online. But it might be like interesting to play with when they're shoppable buttons. So that's the thing.
Yeah, definitely just like a tap for an instant access.
Yeah. And then do you keep an email list like of all the people that bought?
I usually will, if I'm using my Square, I'll ask them if they want a receipt, and then sometimes they'll put their email in. I think I have like 5 people's emails. Got it. Not too big on the email list.
Might be something to think about, especially because I think the type of product you sell, if the person that buys from you is likely a person that would purchase something else, whether it be for them or for a friend or for a significant other, whatever the case may be. One thing that we're finding, especially we manage people's Instagram accounts that have quite a few followers. What we're seeing right now is like for every post that goes out, less and less people are seeing their Instagram posts. So even though their Instagram following is getting bigger, the amount of people seeing everything is slowly going down. And what we're kind of focused on now is how do we, before it crumbles and gets really low, which we think it will, how do we potentially be able to get in touch with people regularly? Yeah. And I think email is a really smart move for you. And you don't have to, so a lot of people make the mistake of thinking, well, if I have this email list and I got to send out a weekly or whatever, it can literally be like once a month. Yeah. And it could be, hey everyone, here's like some interesting thing that's going on with me. Here's a couple new designs that I put together. Maybe you do promotions. Maybe you offer contests or giveaways every once in a while to like kind of spark their interest. But I do think at that price point and with those types of like brands that you're making content with or for, you probably would get people that would purchase again.
Yeah, for sure.
And just having that line of communication. Now you will get their emails if they buy something on the online store,
Yes,
which
of
is
course.
nice.
Yeah.
So that will automatically get their information. But I wonder if there's a way when you're at the shows to help maybe do it. And maybe that's like, hey, drop your email in and we're going to pick a winner to give something away to. Now, you're going to get a lot of emails of just people that like winning free shit. We find, like, even when we run contests online, like a good chunk of those people online, like say we collect 500 emails, like 300 of them are not even potential customers. They're just people trying to get free shit. So you won't get as much of that versus online.
Of course.
If you do it in person.
But, of course. Yeah, I just did a giveaway with a t-shirt bunch, and they put my website on their Facebook, and I had overnight, I think I had like 1,100 people visit my website.
It's amazing.
Yeah. So it was pretty good, but yeah, it was just to get another entrance in the contest, so no one bought anything.
Right. Yeah.
So I totally understand that.
But I think if you're like in person and so like the people that are there are likely consumers anyway.
Yeah.
It's not the same as just some random internet group of people coming by.
For sure.
Maybe offering something like that at the shows. Hey, give us your email and we'll put you can pick anything on the site of this value or less.
Yeah.
So not even saying like you have to take this one thing. So, pick any one thing. Because I think if you were to collect, say, 300 or 400 emails, even if only 2 or 3 of them ever purchased anything ever, it would probably still be worth that one giveaway.
Yeah.
Giving away that one thing to
for sure
have that line of communication. So
yeah, you definitely have to pay to promote. That's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, that never stops.
No,
that never stops.
That's
okay. But I think email, even if you structured something like, again, once a month, and it was like, and take, maybe some behind the scenes, maybe you record some little videos of like how some stuff is getting made. I think people would find that interesting.
Yeah. That
would be good content to go in and, hey, I put up a little YouTube video. You want to check out like how this was made or how this happens or the way that this works. By the way, here's a couple new designs, or we're having a bit of a sale or whatever. I think people would accept that kind of a note once a month if they like that type of product.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. Yeah,
that would actually work better than anything I would said until now. I think the email list thing. Yeah.
Right on. Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Definitely give it a shot. Yeah, I was thinking about YouTube videos as well, just for when people search up CNC stuff, then they can like instantly see my stuff, so we connected to my page there.
Yeah. Time lapse videos would be really cool for you. You just set it up with the cell phone. Actually, most cell phone cameras now take the time lapse.
That's not bad then.
Yeah, so you can just like either suspend it or put it at an interesting angle. There's a guy I do some work with called Hardcore Renos. His name is Manny.
Okay.
Check out his Instagram. He does they do like really unique, interesting renovations.
Okay.
But he was a filmmaker before he was a contractor. And so some of the like concepts and some of the positions and some of the, sometimes they'll have the phone down on the ground while people are like walking by and these structures are being made or all these different. So I think you'd probably get some good inspiration from
that's a good idea.
Camera angles or style of shooting.
For sure. Yeah, I'll have to grab his Instagram off after.
Yeah. He's a very interesting, like he's just not your average contractor to watch. It's
right
really
on.
neat. Yeah.
That's good to see.
Really cool guy. But yeah, I think people love, and from my experience and what we're trying to experiment more with my brand and the company and all that, and even the people we work with, is like the pictures of stuff is cool, but adding that texture of like, this is me, and getting to know me and getting to know what's going on.
Yeah,
so we're shooting more like behind the scenes stuff and like how this works stuff, and obviously the podcast is part of that. But I think that would do well, because I think on Instagram it's like people get fatigue if it's the same type of thing.
Most definitely.
Yeah, and even if you did it in like stories instead of a video post, but just kind of a way to bring people a different view, a different texture.
Oh, even for sure. Like yesterday I was working on one of the dog portraits, and I took a little video and posted it because I was like, oh, I'm working on this now.
Yeah, that's good. And the nice thing with you, like a lot of businesses are not they don't have the luxury of unlimited content. You have literally unlimited, because you're creating a product and there's a whole bunch of unique attributes and there's a whole bunch of ways to tell the story and
Oh, for
think about
sure.
it and draft it up. Most people get stuck in the like, well, I've got, a book or these like 5 SKUs. Well, how many different angles, how many different textures and pieces of wood can I put them on to take pictures? And you like kind of just run out of shit to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got like a really
Yeah, it's almost endless.
unlimited
Sometimes
ability.
it does become a hindrance.
Yeah.
It's like you can do anything, so what do I do?
Just a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Post. But yeah, I would say getting in front of the camera. I don't. Do you do that at all? Do you ever like talk?
Not generally. I'm usually pretty not in front of the
Behind.
camera. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
100%. But that's okay.
Yeah.
I'll get used to it.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I think there's like people get they get connected to a bit of a personality, right?
Oh, for sure. They want to know you're human, not a robot, right?
Yes, that too. That too. And especially like if you're like a super nice, well-spoken dude.
Thanks.
I think, talking through some of the process, because then you drag in people that are interested in the type of product, but then people that are interested in like that style of art,
Mm-hmm.
the CNC and the woodworking. And
Yeah,
that
for
thing. 'Cause
sure.
that's a huge group of people too. There's a lot of like really interesting woodworking.
Yeah, it's kind of coming back as a little bit of a renaissance,
Yeah.
which is good.
Have you thought about connecting with manufacturers of like bars and stuff? Like construction companies that would like build bars and restaurants?
No, I've honestly, I kind of like minimal, because like the only thing I've really done was maybe be like show up at the front door of a realtor and be like, oh, I have these cutting boards, we can laser engrave your name and your information on there, and none of them were interested.
Yeah.
I think I went to about 30 different places.
Yeah.
But so that was just like an idea I had. But yeah, like that. No, it definitely sounds like an awesome idea.
Yeah, it's like because there will be companies that do specifically construction for like bars, restaurants
Yeah.
that specialize in it. And I think if you just made a list of those people and emailed them saying, hey, here's a couple samples of different logos that I can do, or like even if you just render them so that, if you're ever working on a Popeyes or a whatever and they want their logo in the front of the bar or some other place like that, and that could actually bring
excellent.
work at scale, right? If it's like somewhere that does this Subway franchise with this type of bar or that type of bar,
Most definitely.
could be interesting. But I never even thought about it for promotional material.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever done just straight up like emailing people to say, hey, here's kind of something that I do, instead of going like if you've gone like physically door to door?
Yeah, like when I was
Yeah.
doing the realtor stuff, I went into all the realtor offices and
Yeah.
I sat down and I waited till the guy came out and then I had a conversation with him. But he was like, "We're pretty much not interested."
Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah.
"Okay." I was like, "You can." I left
Right.
them one, so I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
"Here you go."
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
they weren't that interested. But that's okay because you can't always have everyone like love your stuff. So that's okay.
That's a fact. One thing that you might consider doing is to just kind of go more mass is so we use a program called Mailshake. It's a software tool that allows you to send mass amounts of emails
Okay.
or more emails that feel custom that are not custom.
Okay.
So what we would do is like we would say, so right now we're emailing a bunch of businesses in the US that are consumer packaged goods, because we're saying, hey, if you've got your own products and you're wanting to do your social media in-house, let us come teach you how to do it better.
Yeah.
And we're getting a great response.
Well, that's great.
But what we do is we've made a spreadsheet of who the person's name is, what the business name is, and what their email address is. So then all we have to do is write the template and say like, hello, first name, I'm Mike from da-da-da-da-da, this is what we do, I came across your business, blah, 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 X. But you're just putting in the template.
Yeah,
First
you're
name,
just filling it
business
all
name,
in. Yeah,
and then this pulls the name from the spreadsheet and then sends it out to more and more and more people.
that's not bad.
That's a really cool way of doing it. And then you can create that list either on your own,
Mhm.
like on Yelp or going through directories,
Okay.
or this is an easy. I'm always about like what's the easiest way of getting
Mhm.
this done. So for me is you can go on like a program like Upwork. Have you heard? I don't.
No, I've never heard of it.
It's like Fiverr. You've heard of Fiverr?
Yes, I have.
It's like that, but more marketing driven.
Okay.
So it's like same kind of thing, but it's more like I'll complete a marketing task. And so what we'll do is we'll have somebody overseas and say, hey, we want an email of all the real estate brokerages in this location or whatever. And what they'll do is they'll go online on the website, get the name, get the information, get the website, and tell like whatever you want in the spreadsheet. And so we were paying like maybe like 15 to 20 cents per contact. So we were spending maybe like a couple $100 getting like 1,000 contacts and then putting it through this machine, and it was automatically emailing all 1,000 people.
That's not bad at all.
And then you can scale the outreach. And because it's something like, because what you offer is unique, right? When you're talking about cold email, most of the time those emails are coming, it's like, do you want help with your SEO? Do you want digital marketing? Do you want a fucking office phone?
Yeah.
Right? Do you want the internet? Like, it's always the same shit.
Mhm.
I think because you offer something kind of cool, I think it would actually stop people in their tracks and be like, oh, well, maybe I do want that. But it's a matter of like, you know, if you've gone around and talked physically to 20 people, that's fine. But if you could email 1,000 like that,
yeah,
you can get out to people faster.
Yeah, definitely a bigger outreach.
Yeah, so I would do that. The mail shake is the product, the product, and then yeah, just find somebody who's a list builder on Upwork.
Okay.
And it's like maybe like $3 an hour or something. And it's usually like in the Philippines or some different place. And then you pay to the platform, and then the platform pays them out. It's like just for that particular gig.
Okay.
So it's really effective. And if you want to get, like, especially at certain times a year, I would think probably the beginning of November would be a perfect time. Hey, real estate agents, what are you getting for your clients for Christmas? I can do these boards. Whatever.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
And then maybe even like having a little page on the site that kind of like talks about whatever that thing is.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Because I think if I'm thinking about the uniqueness of the product, there's not a lot that's like it. You can buy like notebooks with the stamps. Like there's all kinds of that kind of stuff. But like from a wood, and I'm just thinking about like what other kind of things you like, coasters.
Yeah, like I'm mostly like cutting boards, and like I make like actually coffee tables for couches, like little ones that sit on the arms, so you can like put your cup of coffee there.
Oh.
Yeah.
Shit, that's cool. Yeah, that's really cool. Coffee table for couches.
Yeah.
I've never heard that.
Mini coffee tables. Tiny, super tiny. One bowl of soup or a cup of coffee. That's all you get.
Right. That's pretty cool. I've seen the ones that you use for the remotes. The ones that go over that have the remote holder, but never a coffee.
Yeah, because then it turns your curve into a flat surface.
Coffee table for couches. I'm never going to forget that. That's great. But yeah, I think that'd be kind of a cool way to like get it out. And then, for all this stuff, you know, physical outreach or email outreach, there's always going to be a shitload of no's.
Oh, for sure.
When I send 5,000 emails, I get a third of them that are like, fuck off, or like, never email me again, or go away. Okay, I get it. But I'll tell you, at the 15 or 20, they're like, this is a really great idea. Those always end up paying off because there's always somebody looking for it. So if you kind of know the types of industries, the types of people, that makes sense to approach with the product.
I find it just to be like in particular for a person. Like I find like it's like even like as someone as yourself, like I can definitely tell you have like a wood aesthetic. Like you like that. Yeah. You like the wood grains. Yeah. And that's great. Yeah. But some people are just not very interested in that. They might like the modern chic look or something like that, where it's just very like one color or glass. Yeah, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I find it to just be very depending. Like some people, like even at the expos, are like, oh, I'd use that as an ashtray, and then some people walk by and they're like, oh, this is amazing.
Right.
So you get both sides of the spectrum, but you just kind of keep in the middle.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, it makes sense. Cool. Do you have any other questions or any other thoughts? I know we threw a lot out.
No, I would just say like I'm trying to expand at least my Instagram outreach, just because I know that's a lot of people are using that, but I'm also I've been looking into it, and I'm finding that they're changing their algorithm, so it's like people might not even be seeing your stuff. Yeah. Anyways. Yeah. So.
Have you thought about doing like a small version of like influencer style marketing? Like sending a product out and saying, hey, if you do a post about this, I'll send you something.
Yeah, like I actually did that with a few artists. So basically what my deal was is I would just say, hey, like I really like your art. Do you want to do a trade? Like I will make you one wood carving of this piece of art that I really like, and the other one I can just either keep or sell, or just one. Like I'm not going to continuously make them over and over again. I'll just have one. Yeah. and to do with whatever I want. And a lot of times they'll go, yeah, sure. So there's a couple artists that have like quite a few followers, and I actually really do like their art. It wasn't because they had so many followers.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, this is cool
but
stuff.
You know what? It has to be that. It has to be that, or it's not going to work.
Exactly.
It's gonna feel fake. If
Yeah.
you don't do it that way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I sent him one, and he posted about it like, hey, this is really cool. And there's also like another artist. It's actually he's probably my best customer. I met him at the Fan Expo the first year I went, and he like bought almost $1,000 worth of stuff right then.
Nice.
And he's been continuously going back, and he's working on a comic book himself, and he's going to work on I think a Kickstarter sometime in the future. And one of the things will be like his logo wood carved if you choose to like pick that tier on the Kickstarter.
Oh, got it.
So it's just like stuff like that. Like I didn't even have a plan like that. I just liked his art, so I was like, hey, do you want to just trade? Like I'll give you some wood carvings. And then I made that for him, and he's like, actually I really like it. It might help for promotion. And I was like, sure, just let me know when you're doing that, and I'll give it a shout out, because your stuff's good, man.
Yeah, I like that cross promo, because it is you're making art, and then you cross promote with other people that are doing interesting things.
Because it's like it does take a long time to make some of the pieces, but it's just depending on whether or not I'm drawing everything out, or if someone just like, hey, like I did this digital art, and they can send me a vector file, and then I can just cut it out very quickly.
Got it.
You know?
Very cool. And so how can people find you online?
You can find me on Instagram at Marshall Ney, MarshallNey, and my website is wallabis.net, WALLABIS.net.
Cool. Soon to be a Shopify store.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Yeah. Sweet. Cool, man. Well, thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate it, and I'm excited for whatever we decide to do up here.
Yeah, that'll be sweet. Thanks for having me.
Awesome, man. Thanks.
Cheers.